So this is Pookie Bear, and Pookie is a bear that I made years ago, and I have some information about this bear in the video I'm going to put up right here for you to go and watch, sort of the introduction to what I'm doing. But anyway, Pookie is a non-jointed bear. I made this out of a dress that I used to have, and I've decided to do one in a patchwork. So I've cut out the bear. Well, first of all, I had done a bunch of patchwork, just scraps. I was making cloth, big pieces of cloth out of scraps. And I decided to cut it up using this pattern and make a bear out of it for a great niece. Well, no, a great niece who's turning 3 in September. And then after I got the pieces cut out, I decided, why don't I just slow stitch it as well? So that's what I've been working on. And I have to tell you, this is a really enjoyable project. So here's one side of the head. And it's really cute. I'm really enjoying this. I've embroidered the eye, but I still have to do the pupil. I haven't quite decided. So I did all the patchwork first. I've sewn the dart in here. See, here's the back. You can see my stitches at the back. And I've just done a little bit of embellishing. I will do more, but I want to wait until the ears are placed on here before I do any more. So here's one side. And here's the other side. And I've just done running stitch through all the pieces so far. That's all I've done. And I'm really pleased with how this is. So of course this will be like this, and then there'll be a gusset in between. I haven't started the gusset yet, but these two pieces are pretty much done. And then I've done, this is one of the backs. And I'm going to do a lot more. I'm going to add more elements on the back. I've just done the running stitch on it. There's the back of it. So that's one side of the back. I haven't done the other side. And I've done one top of the arm. There's another bottom, but this is the top. So it says, a little magic can take you a long way. And I've added this little bit of trim here. So this will be the top of the arm, and this will be the paw part here. And I put a little daisy from my wedding dress on there. So that's one top, and then there's a bottom. And I have, when I cut the pieces out, I had just cut out the patchwork part, but I have since decided to cut out another, just a cotton piece, and do a back cloth on it, and it's given it much more stability. I think as far as a toy for a child, it'll be very durable. So that's one arm. And here is the front of the body. I have pieced it together already, the two sides. So this one has some, it's today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. And I found this tiny little rick-rack in my stash. So I stitched that along there. And then it's all just straight stitch. I added this little heart on here. I just cut out a little heart, and then I just embroidered around it. So this front is ready. This back will be going over here. So that would be attached like this onto here. And then the other side, the back will be over here. So that is the front. And I'm going to probably, once I finish what I'm working on right now, I'll probably do the other back so that I can get it sewn and attached to this. And what I'm working on right now, I'll just move this aside, is the other arm. So I just started to top stitch, but I decided I have so much stuff, you know, just stuff. I found this tiny little doll. Actually, this little doll was on a hair clip. I bought it at the dollar store years ago, and I bought a whole bunch of them because they were just so cute. So I decided that this little doll should sit in a pocket about here. So I'm going to make a pocket out of this fabric. I'm just going to make a simple, and she'll be in this pocket here when I get the pocket done. Just as another little thing. She can pull the doll, play with the doll, and stick her back in the pocket. And the doll will be on the bear's arm. I want to make this little bear sort of interactive in some ways. Like there'll be sayings like this. Sayings like this one, a little magic can take you the long way. There'll be a little doll in there. I'm on the back. I'm going to add something here on the back. The ears. This is the inside of the ear. So this is what will be inside. It's not the outside. I put a puppy. So the back will have something else. The inside will be like this. On the other side of the other ear is going to have something different inside of it. So I'm trying to add little elements of delight for a child. And I think, you know, there'll be a lot for her to look at, to touch, to feel. I'm going to put different textures of trims on. I have some nice fuzzy wool. I was thinking of doing that. I also have this really crinkly ribbon. I thought I would do a line along the back, just like a panty line almost. You know how some panties have the frill on it, little baby panties I'm talking about. So, you know, I'm going to add other things to it for texture, for play, for comfort. You know, it's going to be that kind of a bear. And hopefully, when I get it done, I'm going to have something that's going to be, it's going to be like heirloom quality. I mean, nobody else will have a bear like this, just little Olive will. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying this. And I want to make one for myself. Now, here we go. See, this is what happens when I make something like this. My brain just doesn't shut off, and I'm not making one, I'm making hundreds, but I want to do a slow stitch one, but I want to do one in my colors, and I'm going to do it I'm going to cut out the back cloth first and add my pieces on and slow stitch as I would any other kind of regular slow stitch. And that's going to be more of a antique looking bear. I'm going to use some of my tea dyed fabrics, some of my echo dyed fabrics, some of my antique fabrics. And yeah, I think this is such a sweet little project, and I know any child would love this. And I know her mom is a person that appreciates anything hand done. So she's going to love it. See, this is how these were. They were a little hair bow, and they had dolls on them. So I just cut the little doll off. I wished I had more. I've used them all. These are the last two that I have. They're just adorable. And I got them at the dollar store. They were in the hair section. Perfect little thing to put in. And I've used these in when I make a Santa and I have Santa's holding a bag or something. I put one of these in. Like, I've used them all over the place. They're great. I wished I had bought more. So yeah, you can look out for little things like this that are useful in your makes, especially if you're making things for children. A lot of these little things like this, you walk by them and you think, what would I ever do with something like that? But then eventually you use it up. So that's what I've been working on pretty much exclusively. But I do have another project that I want to show you that is upcoming. And I was watching Claire Cousins. She's in the UK. She does a lot of slow stitch and embroidery. And a lot of fabric art and things like that. And she had found, had gone to her local quilt shop and had found a panel that she decided she was working on. And I loved it so much that I went on the internet and I actually found it available here in Canada, which is unbelievable in so many ways. I'm just going to move all this out of the way. And this panel is, it's, what am I thinking of? It's an advent calendar. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, I did an advent series over on Vlogmas, on my Vlogmas last Christmas, just this past Christmas. And I did an advent calendar for my son. And every day I had a different something. And I put it all in a bag and I shipped it off to him, and he absolutely loved it. He hadn't had anything to do with advent calendars since he was a child, and I used to just buy those chocolate ones, you know, where you open the door and take the chocolate. But this is an advent calendar, and it's going to be completely hand done, and I'm making it for Jonathan for his Christmas. Again, he's going to get an advent calendar, but this one he might have to stuff himself. So I'm just going to grab it so I can show it to you. So this is the advent calendar. It's just a panel, a quilt panel, and it has all the days in it with this stag in the middle, which is what I really loved about this, was having the stag and this heart here. I just think it's such a beautiful piece. And it says Merry Christmas. And it's actually quite simple, but it's really, I think it's quite beautiful. Anyway, she was doing this, and I'm going to flip this over and show you what she was doing. Here are all the pockets. So she is stitching each pocket individually. She had her embroider hoop on, and she's embroidering every pocket, every number. And then she's taking that over and she's putting it on here and then embroidering what it's next to. So in essence, the whole thing is going to be embroidered, pockets and all. And the pockets will, of course, all be attached. And you hang it up, and it's a wall hanging. And I just loved the idea. So I went on the internet, and I had no clue where I would possibly get this. But I found a place in Canada, which just surprised me so much, because usually anything from the UK, we would have to buy it from the UK. We would never be able to find it here. But I did find it here. I found it from Brown Peacock Quilts. And they are, she has an Etsy shop, Brown Peacock Quilts, and I think they're, now is she in Nova Scotia or New Brunswick, somewhere on the East Coast, somewhere here in Canada. So I ordered it. I got it right away. I was just thrilled. It's not cheap, but you know, again, this is something that I am making for my son. So it's going to be something he is going to treasure. I know he will love this. And it's going to become a family heirloom again. I get this, you know. It's something he's going to treasure, and he will pass it on to his family. So, yeah, this is what I'm going to be doing. After I finish this bear, I'm starting this. I decided I was going to start it. Actually, I got this before I had my fall. And I was planning on starting it fairly soon. But then I had the fall, and, you know, all went on. And I'm so tempted just to start it, but I want to finish this bear first. I'm going to get the bear finished. If I can get this started by the end of June, I'll have plenty of time to get it done before Christmas. So this is going to be the next slow stitch project. And I think it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to get started. And you know, you're working in just small things, you know. You can, some of these are like, for instance, this would take no time to stitch. No time at all. You do a back stitch, you know, a little bit of color work in here. Some of these things are not going to take a long time to stitch. This I might just outline with this color. So, you know, some of it, this is going to take no time to stitch at all. Same with this or this. You could do all three of these probably in a half an hour. So it's not, this part probably isn't going to be where the majority of the work is. It's going to be more so in between, you know, like in here, you're going to have to do this part here because you will have done this, but you'll have to do all this in between. So, you know, oh, I can't wait to get started on this. I think it's just going to be fantastic. So I have to make sure I have the right colors. I'm going to go through my boxes of embroidery thread and make sure that I've got, you know, colors that are similar to this. And I'm going to make sure I have enough because I don't want to run out. And if I have to order, I might have to order this type of color here, and I might have to order something of this. I'm really low on browns for some reason. I don't have a lot of browns, and I probably do have the beige. So yeah, isn't that just a wonderful project? I think this is going to be stunning when it's done, and I think it's going to be fun to do. So this is my next project after I finish my little bear, which I have to say, the rate I'm going with this little one, it's not going to be too long. I just started this. When did I put that video up? Last week or week before that? And already I've got finished stitching all of this. So I think I've done pretty well so far. And what did I do with that? And I finished the inside of that ear too. Yeah, so this is what I'm up to. I've also been working on my crochet therapy blanket, and I'm not getting that far with it, but I'm working on it. I do a few rows every day just to, you know, just to keep at it. Still haven't done any knitting. I don't know why I haven't done any knitting. I can't explain it. I think because I have so many knitting projects already started that I'm just hesitant to get into that, because I know once I get knitting, I want to knit. So I'm just leaving. I have mostly socks on the go, but I have one project that's in my mind, and I'll talk to you about that in another episode, because I have some knitting and wool-ish things to show you as well. But for now, this is my little passion. I just have so in love with this. I want to do more of this kind of thing now. You know, I watch so many people who are slow stitchers, and I love all of them and I love what they do. But for myself, I need to do things that are practical and useful. I would love to do a slow stitch book, really, and keep it for myself. But then I thinking, what's gonna happen to that book after I make so much effort and work on it? Only I am going to get enjoyment from it, and that's fine too. But I would much rather do things that I can give as a gift. That's just who I am. I love to make things and gift them. I make very little for myself. Most of what I make, I give away as a gift. So I think for me, if I'm going to be doing a slow stitch project, it's going to be something that I can gift to somebody. If it's a pouch or a needle book, I can give it to somebody I know who sews. Or if it's a pouch, somebody who will use the pouch. A pouch is the best thing, actually, because you can use a pouch for anything. You can use it for makeup, you can use it for knitting, you can use it for pencils, you know. So I want to do things that are useful to people. And this little bear, I think is going to make one little girl very, very happy. I don't even have to imagine that she's going to be happy because I know she will be. So that's what I'm working on when I'm not in the garden. And totally enjoying this. I can't wait to see it all put together. I really can't. The only thing I wanted to mention about this is if you want to do one of these, and I don't know why you wouldn't want to if you had children around, I would suggest if you're going to make your scrap piece first, just let me grab a scrap piece so I can tell you what I'm talking about. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. I just was sewing scraps together, and then I took my patterns and I placed them on here and I cut them out. This is how I made the bear. Now, I'm having some difficulty when I'm stitching through some of these seams here, and that's because, like, see, I don't know if you can even see, but that's because I didn't press out my seams. I go to one side, you know, like what we do when we do quilts. You press them to whichever way, to the light or to the dark, however you do it. But now when I'm going to sew this, if I'm going to stitch over top of this, I'm stitching through 3 layers. And then if you add the back cloth, that's 4 layers. And it's really, some of it is really tough to get through. So if you are going to do it this way, if you're going to put all these little pieces together and make a piece of cloth and then cut out your bear like I did, I would suggest that you iron out your seams like that. It's going to make your stitching, if you're going to stitch it, top stitch it like what I've done, it's going to make your stitching a lot easier on your hands. That's the only thing that I have found about this that has been difficult. In some of the seams where I've had, now I can't see them because I've covered them up with the other thing, but in some cases you are going through 4 layers of cotton and it's pretty tough to get through with your needle, and it's hard on the fingers. But I do advise, if you're going to make something like this for a child, that you do the back cloth, because it really has made a beautiful fabric. It's tough, but it's soft as well. It's softened all of this cotton up just beautifully. So I think that would be my only suggestion, and I've learned that just by my own experiment with this, that when you're making this piece here, just be careful, you know, like maybe iron out these seams, open them up so that you're not, that's taking at least 2 seams away from you having to stitch through, and that's going to make a big difference. So that's the only thing that I wish I had not done, is not opened up my seams. Of course, I didn't think about that at the time when I was cutting these. I just went ahead and did it. So there's my new little Pookie. I'm going to leave the naming of her up to little Olive. She can name her whatever she wants, but it's definitely a her. It's not a he, not this one. So thank you for watching, and I will continue this as I go along. Once I start to put it together, I will show you what I'm doing, but right now I'm just top stitching, which is pretty boring for anybody to watch. But this is how it's coming along. I just love this. It's a great little project. I hope that you enjoyed that little segment on Pookie Bear. I am so enjoying that project, and it's spurring all these ideas for more projects just like that. You know, maybe one for myself, or I could give it away too, I guess, in neutral colors, doing it the real slow stitched way with little pieces and adding them as I go. Sorry, my throat is a little dry. Also, I've been thinking about doing a Santa Claus like that. I think that would be really cute to do a slow stitch Santa Claus. I've got lots of Santa Claus patterns that I could do that with, or a doll, a little doll. So yeah, it's just kind of blown my mind with all these possibilities. And this is what happens every time I try something different, or I try a different technique on something that it wasn't really supposed to be for. There's a little bird sitting on my windowsill looking in. Hi. Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah, so it's been so much fun, and I really think that there's so much more a person could do with just plain ordinary soft toy patterns. Now that I've tried this, I have ideas just floating around like crazy. So I have been out in the garden all morning. I came in for lunch and then I went back out, and it's really cooled off. Like, it wasn't really warm. It was only 16, but I think it's like 10 now, and they're talking it might freeze tonight. I can't believe it. What is the date today anyway? I don't know. June something or other. We shouldn't be getting frost anymore. And I don't think I'm even going to bother to cover anything up, because I really don't think it'll freeze in our yard. Our yard's very protected. We have that big hedge all around, and it's lots of times when we've had an early frost and I'd had things in the garden, nothing has been touched. So I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed, because I really don't feel like covering anything up at this time of the year. So I'm going to bid you all a fond farewell for now, and I want to just say thank you so much for checking in on my videos, making comments, sharing, liking, all of the things that you have been doing. It's very rewarding to have feedback from you, and all the kind words of encouragement as well that you have been giving me for my shoulder, which right now is hurting quite a bit, but I really pushed it hard this morning in the garden. I was digging again, more quack. That's my life. It's all just a quack, 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 quack. Okay, so I will see you on the next one. Take care, everybody, and have a good week. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.